it. All right, so welcome to the fourth session. We have one more to go after this. And last time, um, we talked about how Krishna has given us this wonderful opportunity to have a connection with him ultimately that's based on divine love. It's a tremendous opportunity. We talked about the first verse of Shikshastakam that describes all the things that the Hare Krishna mantra does for us. And then Lord Chaitanya mentions this problem that comes up. Right? The Shikshastakam was eight instructive verses that Lord Chaitanya composed, give a overview of all the different stages of bhakti. And so when he mentions something, since there's only 8 verses and it's covering everything, it has to be important. Anything that's kind of superficial, or he's leaving that out. And so he in the second verse, he talks about how there's this problem that comes up. Right? Of not, even though we take up the practice of chanting, or take up the practice of serving, somehow take up the practice of bhakti. And even though we have some understanding of the value, we have, he says, nanaragaha. Instead of having some attachment and some real enthusiasm, we don't have it. So he says, so this is kind of it's a strange thing, because it's usually if you have something wonderful, you'll have enthusiasm. It's great. You want to do it. He says, so he said, there's this thing that confounds everybody, and almost everybody has this problem. That's why he mentions it. We don't have the same kind of enthusiasm you would think we would, given the wonderful opportunity that's been given. It's out of proportion. And so he gives the solution. And this is really what holds us back in the progress of our devotional service. So he gives the solution in the next verse, in the third verse of the Shikshastakam. It has 3 steps, and we're going to try to deal with, particularly with the first 2. And he gives also in those things 2 poetic images. And so he says, there's the remedy he gives in the third verse of Shastakam. Trinada peace vichena toror ivas, amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. How we can then get rid of that nanaragaha, lack of attachment, lack of enthusiasm, and replace it with enthusiasm and steadiness. And so the Bhagavatam kind of gives the core, the root of that problem that Lord Chaitanya is going to address in the third verse. And we're going to especially take a look at the first 2 lines, because it gets progressively more difficult and more to the root of the problem, each line in that verse. The first one is easier than the second. Second one's more difficult, and but the second one is easier than the third. And the third, I think, if things go as I expect, we'll cover mostly next week. This is kind of like for us practitioners, people who want to practice bhakti. The third element is the essence for our practice. Really see how we're doing based on that, and see what has to be fixed. So that's worth the whole session, I think, almost. So we'll start. So anyway, so the Bhagavatam in the second canto, he said it says that our problem is that we're ashma saram, and ashma can be. Prabhupada translates Ashmasaram as either in 2 places. In the Bhagavatam, he translates it as steel framed, and in that same verse where it's quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he says it's like hard like iron, and it's referring to the heart here. The heart is being described either as steel framed or like iron. And I looked at where Prabhupada translates the 2 separate words, ashma and saram, in other places, and ashma also means stone. Sometimes he says iron, sometimes stone. So it's something very, very hard. And saram, it can mean essence, but also it can mean solid. So it means it's hard like stone, hard like iron, hard like steel. And this is what we're facing. That as conditioned souls, we have, at least compared to what a devotee should be, compared to that, our hearts are very, very, very hard. The verse, and it's in the second chapter of the second canto of the Bhagavatam. It says, if somebody is chanting with concentration and they're not experiencing the symptoms of ecstasy that come with not with practice but with perfection of having the hairs stand on end. This is you'll find that in the sixth verse of the Shikshastakam. The hair on the body is standing on end, and the tears are coming from the eyes. It says if that's not happening, then we know that the heart is like stone, or like iron, or like steel. And so when the heart is hard, we don't appreciate things very well. And bhakti is all about opening the heart. It's a heart process. In the beginning of the so much I mean not completely in the beginning, but in the Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami talks about, and we even discussed here a little bit, how bhakti produces knowledge and renunciation. It's a byproduct. And so Rupa Goswami says that trying to cultivate renunciation separately, he says that causes the heart to be hard. He says that's against that actually inhibits our bhakti. So we can understand that that with Krishna, we're trying to have a connection, right, which is a mutual divine love. That's a heart connection. Right? So how can a hard heart help us? So it's about the heart. So much about bhakti is opening the heart, softening that iron, rock, stone, steel heart, and making it soft like butter. Hardness is only an obstacle. And so and we can see it because bhakti is meant to be a connection, a relationship with Krishna. And so I'm sure you've had experiences where you've had a connection or relationship with somebody where one or both sides didn't really feel it. You needed to have this relationship for some reason. Maybe it's your boss, maybe it's a professor, maybe it's a relative, something. You're supposed to have it. Maybe it's beneficial to you. Or you had somebody else in the same situation that thought they had to have a connection with you, but they didn't feel it. And when that happens, if it's from the other side, the other person doesn't feel it, you really feel that right away. You can understand that they're just going through the motions. And when you are in that situation, you know how difficult it is to go through the motions. So this is why it's important. The heart has to be open. Otherwise, the connection is just in the head. It's just in the understanding. Yes, this is and we say, oh, it sounds great. Let me develop a connection with Krishna. Let me have this eternal life of bliss and knowledge. It sounds like a great opportunity. So let me take advantage of the opportunity. But without the heart, what happens? Just like it's difficult with any other human being, you end up going through the motion and your connection is extremely superficial. The relationship doesn't go anywhere. I may be doing so many different things, chanting so many rounds, studying this, doing service, all that kind of, but if the heart is closed, superficial, the Prabhupada used to use the example sometimes of cooking with smoke. When he talks about when we're chanting or serving in a superficial way, he says, it's like cooking with smoke. He says, where there's smoke, there's fire. He says, it may take 300 years to cook your breakfast. Right? So there's something there. I mean, if you're chanting, you're serving Krishna, there's something there. Right? There's some desire for a connection. But if the heart is closed, it's going to stay superficial. It's there's a little fire there, but it's smoke. It's not getting the job done. We're actually blocking what we're trying to accomplish. We're standing in the way. So in the third verse of the Shikshashtakam, Lord Chaitanya talks about this, the softening of the heart. And he uses the first poetic image he uses is that one should feel oneself lower than the grass. Trinadapi sunichena. Even lower than the grass. We talk about that a lot, being lower than the grass. And but what does that mean? Like, what does it mean to be like? Usually, I think when somebody talks like that, we think, oh, we're going to feel extremely badly about ourselves, that we're some kind of useless being, lower than the grass, lower than the grass. So, but I'm going to tell you that that's not the way it's supposed to be. This is not a feeling bad about yourself situation at all. It's quite opposite. So we're used to the situation where you have pride, and the opposite is low self-esteem. They're actually, sometimes we think of them as opposites. They're actually two sides of the same coin. The opposite of pride is genuine humility. So when we feel really bad about ourselves, that's low self-esteem. Somebody humiliates us. You're this, you're no good, you're not anything. Right? It's a terrible feeling. And if somebody, but you can see that they morph into one another. If you have somebody who's bullied enough, picked on enough, at some point they're just gonna become angry and say, no, I'm somebody too. And somebody who has a lot of pride, if something breaks their pride, then they feel terrible about themselves. And one morphs into the other. They're just two angles of the same thing. And so we're not trying to go from pride to low self-esteem, being lower than the grass. That's not what's meant here. That's not helpful. That's just wounded pride. And pride is when we can't take being wounded anymore. Back and forth. It doesn't, you can't get out of the loop. You go from one to the other to the other. And it doesn't do you any good. So I thought for a moment, I had a little quick meditation for you that maybe puts you in the mood to help you understand what I'm about to explain. Because I don't know, we may not have had many experiences with genuine humility, which is an ecstasy, which feels so good. And so I'm gonna give you, I was remembering in the third chapter of the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a description there. And so I guess I want to give you some notion here that we're having connection with Krishna, who's another being. He's the supreme being, a special type of being. And one of the ways he's special is that he's omnipresent. So sometimes we'll think of Krishna as being far away. So having this connection, he's in his place of Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world, and yeah, he can still perceive everything. That's no problem. But he's far, far away, and that notice of that notion of distance can be a real problem for us. Is Krishna watching? Is that how can I be connected with him when he's so far away? And so in the it's the third chapter, the Lord in the heart. No, second chapter, I think, the Lord in the heart. In the second canto. The other verse with what the heart is the third chapter, I think. Anyway, one of the two, and it describes somebody who is a devotional bhakti yogi who can see the super soul in the heart. In the Upanishads, it says right that there's like the soul, and right next to the soul is the super soul, Paramatma, and it's described as like two birds in one tree. Right together. And the existence of the super soul, in my understanding, like Krishna says, he does so many things. He's in charge of remembrance, forgetfulness, and knowledge there. But the fact that it's him and not somebody else, like there's so many, millions of demigods, devas. He could have created another one to do that part. So the fact that he's always with us, whether we want to deal with him or not, to me shows his affection. You don't have to deal with me, but I'm not going to ever abandon you. I allow you to forget about me. I allow you to even deny me. I allow you to be angry with me. Right? There's the asuras who want to kill Krishna. He allows that. But he still stays with them. That's okay. Think whatever you want. I'm with you because you're precious to me. And so that super soul says when they see him, he's smiling, and it says he's playfully glancing this way and that way, and he's moving his eyebrows in this enchanting way. It says that the eyebrows are shining and they're moving in this enchanting way, and it says and it shows his mercy. It shows his kindness and mercy. Just everything about him just radiates kindness and mercy. It's just palpable. Everything about him is so lovely, and he's just there. Here I am for you. And of course, it's not that he's just in my heart or your heart or in everybody else's heart, but he's in every creature's heart. And even it says in every atom. So we are surrounded by, penetrated by, saturated with this kind, loving being, form of Krishna, every place. And the other thing that Krishna tells us in the Gita is that he says that everything is resting on me, like if you have a necklace, like pearls on a thread. So we're supported by Krishna. We're surrounded by Krishna. Through and through is Krishna. Everything, all of our life force is supported by Krishna, and the super soul is there shining on us. So let's take a couple of minutes and just kind of think about that, contemplate what that means. And not only is Krishna there in the spiritual world, but he's there in that beautiful form of the super soul, all around us and in us, every atom. It's not even just every cell, but every atom is got that. And he also personally right next to us, next to our real selves, or next to our souls, is right there. So we're saturated, just like right now the Wi-Fi is passing right through your body. Krishna's radiating his mercy, and all these different directions coming in and going out and going everywhere. We're just covered in this constant matrix of his love and of his mercy. And we're being held by him. We're supported by him, like pearls on a thread. We're not isolated. So let's just take a couple of minutes and just kind of see what that makes you feel. If you can just try to understand that, what that does to you. You're being silent right now. That's why you're not hearing me. I want you to silently contemplate what we talked about there, how the super soul is there around you, inside of you, and everywhere. Doing a little bit of a ritual meditation. That makes you feel like if we know we're being supported by Krishna, just want you to consider what that means. We're just listening, we'll just kind of go past this. That merciful, glancing Krishna is one of the super souls within our hearts, is in everybody else's heart. In every atom, so it surrounds us, it's inside of us, it's outside of us, it's in every direction. And at the same time, we're being supported by Krishna, like pearls on a thread. We're living in his energy. We are his energy. He's not somebody far away. So what if we consider that it's this being that is somehow interested in us, that's reaching out to us? He's reaching out first. That Krishna has made the first move. He revealed himself. To the Bhagavad Gita, to the Srimad Bhagavatam, he appeared on earth directly. His devotees have appeared on earth. So we wouldn't even have to know he exists. But he's revealed himself. And he's reaching out to us. And he's desiring a connection with us. How should that make us feel? I wonder if I'm going to try to make a distinction between being humbled and being humiliated. This is what I'm trying to tell you right now. How do we become humble? This is what I'm trying to explain. Okay, so just hang with me here. Okay. If I think we know what humiliated means. That means something happens to us where we feel worthless, we feel useless, we feel very badly about ourselves, put down, or crushed. But there's also a word called humbled. And sometimes you'll hear people use it, right? When somebody has been so kind to them that it was beyond any of their expectations. Or sometimes people say at award ceremonies, oftentimes they don't mean it these days, but it had an original meaning, right? I'm humbled by this award. Or I'm humbled by all the support I got when I went through this trouble. I didn't realize how much people cared for me. Right? This is being humbled when you receive something that you could never even expect or think you could possibly deserve. And it's a feeling of great joy. Somebody gives you something, somebody does something for you, somebody shows some appreciation for you that's beyond anything you thought was warranted or possible. So it makes you feel, in one sense, very small because you feel, how can I repay that? I can't really live up to that. At the same time, it makes you feel so good. Have you experienced something like that, where somebody did something for you you just couldn't expect they would ever do it. So you feel such appreciation, and you feel small. Vrindavan says, when we work so hard, shouldn't we? So do you mean, maybe you can speak with us, Vrindavan. Let's don't you unmute yourself. Do you mean like we are, like our service is so much, we're working so hard in Krishna consciousness and that kind of thing? What do you mean by that?
Well, the one that you said when they were getting awards, they say that they are humbled to receive this, but then they have worked so hard. So shouldn't they feel, yes, I deserve this?
I mean, usually they say, um, well, I mean, if it really is an award that they feel they didn't deserve, that they'll say that. I mean, usually what they're oftentimes what they're saying these days it's just kind of a politeness, and they're thinking, I should have won this award last year. But if you receive something that you feel exceeds your effort, exceeds what you could get, that's when you feel humbled. Okay, so that's the thing. So when somebody genuinely feels humbled, they've received something more than they feel they deserve, more than they feel they could deserve. And it's really, in one sense, it's very satisfying. And at the same time, it makes them feel, wow, I mean, I couldn't really deserve that. So it doesn't add to the pride. It adds, it makes, it causes a humility. Humility. So in these days, we humility is something in short supply, you know. And so see, again, we're talking hard work. And so what I'm going to tell you is that what hard work would cause you to feel you earn a $10 trillion salary? Is there any such work? Right? What we get in return and in proportion to our hard work. I mean, somebody works very hard, some people work very, very hard and get paid very little. Very, very little. And there's people that, work really hard, get paid quite a bit. Right? What if you could work really, really hard and you got, trillions of dollars? So the reason why people think humility is weakness is because we think it's being that we're feeling bad about ourselves, right? That I'm a worthless being. So if somebody, say, honestly gave you that $1 trillion, that, wow, your work is so great, right? That's it, right? Weakness means you feel bad about yourself. But I'll tell you what, pride is a weakness. Pride is a weakness. It looks like people are confident, but they can be easily broken. If something happens to them that they're not expecting, they'll be devastated. Somebody doesn't respect them like they expect, they'll be angry. That's not strength. Right? Well, false ego is much more than just pride, Samuel. It's one of the things, and sometimes we make that mistake. It's only that. False ego is a much more subtle thing. So I'm trying to make this difference between being humiliated and being humbled. Where humility is not feeling bad about yourself, but it's that you're receiving something that you could not even expect to deserve. Namely, a connection with Krishna, the Supreme Being. How many famous people do you know and are on a first name basis with and can talk to and call up and go there? Like really famous people. And you go up and Not many, right? And if you did, if there's somebody you admire the most in all the world, say for devotees, say for example, that you're in the temple room and we have the Murti of Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada stands up, because he's there, he's present there, walks off this Vyasa-san, walks up to you, says, I've been watching you, and I really appreciate your service. How would you feel? Would you, maybe later you'll feel prideful. Hey, Prabhupada, talk to me. But in that moment, you would be so surprised and you would be so touched. And you wouldn't feel that you deserve that praise from God, because you're not doing anything so special. And you would feel great. So we have an opportunity to develop a deep relationship with the most important being in existence. And if we take that as something cheap or ordinary, that's a sign that the heart is awfully hard. That Krishna's coming to us and saying, hey, I want to deal with you. Now we know we're not that great, right? We're not that great. So why wouldn't we feel humbled? Like, this is just amazing. And how am I going to reciprocate that? How can I pay something? How can I pay that back? How can I do that? There's no way. The value is too high. That's being humble. It's a feeling of ecstasy. It's a feeling of joy. And it's a feeling that I'm helpless to return that. How can I do something for Krishna that's in any way proportionate to what he's done for me? He's not only inviting me, but he's doing the heavy lifting. We talked about this, right? That the practice of bhakti involves, like Prabhupada says, it's like putting the iron into the fire. We're naturally spiritual beings, but we're covered over right now, and we're covered with ignorance. We're covered with so many other unarthas, unwanted things. And we don't have the ability to get out of that. But by simply connecting ourselves with Krishna, Prabhupada says he put the iron in the fire, and the iron becomes fire. So Krishna is the one who's going to, if we put ourselves in connection with him, he's going to be the one that does the purification. So he's reaching out his hand to us. He's doing the heavy lifting. He's been tolerant of us and loving us despite our disinterest, or our uninterest, not even disinterest, our uninterest in him for who knows how many lifetimes. Can we really think we deserve that? Is it possible for us not to think that this is an incredible good fortune that is beyond any expectation we've ever had? Was there a day when we woke up and said, okay, God should be coming to me right now? Right? I'm sure God's going to call today. I'm sure God's going to show up today. I'm such a great guy. Look at all these other losers out here. Why shouldn't God come to me? He's going to come to me today. We didn't even know there was a spiritual world. So how can we even expect something like that? Right? Our highest hopes, the things we desired the most in all of our lifetimes, maybe millions of lifetimes, put together, aren't nearly as wonderful as the spiritual world. We're being offered something that's more than we ever have conceived of, and more than we could ever conceive of. And it's just, here you go, buddy. Hare Krishna mantra. And we're thinking, hey, yeah, I deserve it. Why not me? So the first step, right, is it's gratitude. It's appreciation. It's the acknowledgement that we've been given something for free that we do not deserve. That's why it's called causeless mercy. Krishna looks, oh, look at this guy. This guy, this lady. She's so far better than everybody else. I'm going to go to that. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And how could we be so great? We know who we are, man. Come on. How can we think we deserve that? So we should be humbled by the opportunity. Which means we feel, and we feel so helpless to be able to return it. How can we do something for Krishna? What can we do for Krishna that's in any way proportionate to what we've been given? We have this huge debt of gratitude, and we know we can't do it. We know we can't pay it back. And so instead of taking what we do, our service or our chanting very seriously, we say, this is all I have to offer to you, Krishna. This is all I have. So that's a feeling of being smaller than the grass, lower than the grass, and it's ecstasy. And it's joyful, and it's sobering. This is humility. It's not weakness. Heck no. You don't feel bad about yourself. You've just been given the greatest gift possible. Krishna. Your only problem is you don't know how you can show any real appreciation. And if somebody else is proud, let them be. Who cares? Do they have that? Hopefully they can get. So this is how you're humbled in the grass. You understand what you've been given and how you can't possibly deserve it, how you will never pay it back, but how you have it. And Krishna means it. That you have this tremendous good fortune you cannot earn, you cannot deserve, you cannot pay back, but you have it. And that for no good reason that you can determine Krishna loves you. The most wonderful person in existence loves you. That's a humbling feeling that's beautiful. So this is an ecstasy, not feeling bad about yourself. So we mistake humility for low self-esteem. Oh, I'm a worthless creature. You'll see sometimes in persons on the level of Baba or Prema, super advanced devotees will talk in a way that sounds like it's low self-esteem. There's I am lower than a worm in stool. But they're also, they know Krishna better than we do. So they know far, far better what the gift they have received. So they're thinking, how can I pay it back? I can't. So they feel so useless and helpless in that way. That's an ecstasy also. It's a deeper ecstasy than we're feeling. Because they know they have Krishna. But they think, how can I do it? How can I repay that? So humility is never feeling bad about oneself, not genuine humility. That's low self-esteem, which is the opposite side of the coin of pride, one who flips into the other. Humility is this power of great gratitude, which softens the heart, which makes you removes all of your pride and low self-esteem, and makes you feel wonderful. That's what it is. The other thing that's important, that why you will feel lower than the grass, is that we should feel helpless. It's not that, we've tried it, okay? We've tried this before. Okay? We've gotten the Hare Krishna mantra, and we're chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and we didn't become perfect. In fact, we had Nanaraga, as Lord Chaitanya said. Okay? So it's not like, okay, Krishna comes, he appears, he gives you the tools, and now you use those tools to go back to Godhead. You do it, right? He just gives you the instructions. Here's the recipe. Now you bake the love of God cake. Right? We don't have the power to break the illusion. So there's the Maya, or the illusion, has two main powers. Avaranatmaka, it covers us over so we can't understand our real identity. And Prakshepatmika distracts us and pulls our attention in the wrong direction. And we are powerless to defeat it. That's why Krishna does the work. He gives us the tools, the way that we can be connected with him. That's so we can be in the fire. And then he does the heavy lifting. Prabhupada says in the Nectar of Instruction how we can be certain of success because Krishna helps us. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says he gives you the intelligence by which you can come to him. He gives you the understanding. He says he's the Jnana Dipena. He's this light of knowledge, this lamp of knowledge that arises within you. He's doing that. And in one of the Prabhupada's purports in the first canto, he says that Krishna wants this relationship more than you are able to desire to want it. And he says, actually, the Nectar of Instruction says, you are dragged to ultimate success almost as if by force. So Krishna is the fire. If we somehow connect with him, even in our chanting is not perfect, our service is not perfect, what does it mean? But because we're trying to connect with him, then he helps us. Prabhupada says we take one step towards him, he takes 10 steps towards us, or 100 sometimes, he says. Because he's the one who's eager. So he will help us. We can't do it alone. And so if we go and say, okay, I'm going to chant so much, I'm going to serve so much, I'm going to study so much, I, heart's hard, you're not going to go far. But if we say that, there's a verse, right, that says, or one of the Goswami says, I'm determined to serve Krishna even though I'm not able to do it. Where Prabhupada says there's a mood of hoping against hope. So we're hoping for Krishna's mercy, that he will help us. And so our activities, our actions are done out of gratitude that Krishna has appeared before us and we can't repay him. So it means that's why we're eager to do it. But we know that our actions are not causing us to be successful. It's Krishna's mercy that's doing all the heavy lifting. Because one of the main, right, there's the verse in the Bhagavad Gita that says the soul is bewildered by the false ego, ahankara. He says, kartaham iti manyate. He says that because I'm thinking I'm the doer, I'm independently able to act. He says that the soul is vimud atma. Ahankara vimud atma. Atma is the soul. Vi is an intensifier. Muda means ass, or a foolish person. So the soul is made foolish. The false ego makes the soul greatly foolish through the means of having us think that we're the doer. Kartaham. Kartah, me, kartah, doing, I'm doing. I'm thinking I'm the one doing. I'm the one doing. So I'm going back to God. I'm doing so much sadhana. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing something else. That's making the heart hard. But if I feel helpless, that Krishna has thrown me this, this rope. And if I somehow, if I show some appreciation, if I chant Hare Krishna, if I do some service, that Krishna then will continue to help me. He's not required, but he wants to. So it's the spiritual life is one of becoming smaller, not greater. We don't have to prove ourselves to Krishna. He's already approached us. We just have to show that we're willing. We have to allow Krishna in so that he can do the work. So many times we have this debate about whether it's mercy or our work. And I really think that's a false question. Because if we think mercy just means I just sit here. Okay, Krishna, take me back to Godhead whenever you're ready. Right? That mercy is like that. Mercy means we don't do anything. That means we have no desire, no appreciation for Krishna. He's giving us everything and we don't want to lift a finger. That's a hard heart. That's pride. Why should I have to do anything, Krishna? You take me back. That's nonsense. And if I think, oh, I'm going to work so hard, I'm going to deserve it, I'm going to be the best one, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. That's pride. So when there's humility, there's naturally a lot of activity. You're not going to sit there. If there's humility and appreciation, of course, you're going to do whatever you can. You're going to be eager, right? You're not going to have the nanaraga, you're going to have the anuraga. You're going to have attachment. You're going to be enlivened. You're going to be enthusiastic. But you know that the results are coming from Krishna. When the heart softens, oh, we do more. When there's humility and gratitude, we do more. Naturally. But Krishna does, God gives the results. It's Krishna's mercy that removes our bondage. And by opening our heart and serving him, we're giving him permission to do so. Otherwise, he respects our freedom. If I say, Krishna, I got this, no problem. I got the Mahamantra, don't have to worry about me. I'll be right there anytime. I'll be back to Godhead soon enough. I'm chanting so nicely. And Krishna will say, okay, this is okay. Doer means, she says, if we say we have to do more, then how do we understand we're not the doer? Doer means the results, particularly. Right? That I'm by my actions, I'm liberating myself. I'm making me go back to Godhead. You know. But I need Krishna's mercy for it to work. So I don't get credit for it. It's not by me being greater and greater and greater and serving more and more and more that I earn my way back to Godhead. I'm giving back only a fraction of what I've already received. I don't have the power to do it. I have a debt of gratitude that will never go away. This is the case of even the devotees in the spiritual world. They're loving Krishna with all their hearts and all their strength, all the time, and they feel that they never can repay what they've received from Krishna. Krishna feels the same. This is divine love. And we will think that I'm not doing anything. That's why it says that the advanced devotees think I'm not doing anything because they see that I'm not even making up any ground on Krishna. My debt is only increasing. No matter how much I do, my debt is increasing. So how can I say I've done anything? I'm falling behind. Krishna is more kind to me than I'm able to repay. So that's the other way you say I'm doing everything, but I can't get any credit. What am I doing? I'm going in debt. Right? you're running a business, right? And you're getting some sales, but your expenses are greater. Right? So look, you're getting income. No, I'm going in debt. You won't accept that. Oh, look, you're making good money. No, I'm in debt. I'm losing money. So that's oh, you're doing so much service. No, I'm losing ground. I can never pay anything. So I've not done anything. See? That's the attitude. I haven't done anything. I'm just losing ground. I'm further in debt today than I was yesterday. And even if I double my, I can't do it. This is humility. It's a beautiful feeling. It's a liberating feeling. It's a heart-opening feeling. And it overcomes so many different misconceptions. We wonder why we're stuck, because we don't got it. That's why we're stuck. The heart is too hard. The mind is finding some different ways to justify it. Believe me, it does. It finds a million different ways to justify the hard heart. Me? No. But we're busted. We're chanting Hare Krishna and the tears aren't flowing, not the real ones. We're busted. So there's only one way forward. Got to soften the heart. Got to soften the heart. We have to feel powerless. We have to feel grateful, and we have to feel powerless. It's a beautiful feeling. It doesn't sound good to us from our normal experience, right? We want to feel big and we want to feel powerful. But we're in the hands of Krishna, so we don't have to be. See? When we're in a dangerous world, when we're a small being in a dangerous world filled with other beings, we need control and we need status. Otherwise, we'll get abused. But we are in the protective, loving embrace of Krishna. He's holding us like pearls on a thread. He's radiating his mercy and love towards us right now. We don't have any need for fear. So we don't need to be powerful. We don't need to be somebody. That's a material conception. Any questions? We're getting to the end here. Anything else? Does it make any sense to you? Do I sound crazy to you? I may be, but it's possible. I think we've many times we've really gone back and forth with this verse and thought about. We're going to talk about the second one next week, which is more difficult, being more tolerant in the tree. I think in both cases we thought we have to feel really bad about ourselves to be humble, and that always feels bad. And then to be tolerant means we have to toughen up. That hardens the heart. So it doesn't. Being more tolerant tree doesn't mean that either. So I want to blow these things up a little bit. That's what we're going to talk about next time. How being tolerant in the tree doesn't mean. It means opening the heart even more. That's why it's there. And then the third one is the one that really gets us. If you want to find where the heart is hard, it's where you don't want credit yourself, but you give all credit to others. Why? Because our egos respond to other humans. We get our self-esteem from comparison with other human beings. Devotees, we get our self-esteem from Krishna. That humble self-esteem that Krishna loves us for no good reason, but he does. And so therefore, I couldn't be more fortunate. I couldn't be more secure. I couldn't be more valued. And I don't feel I deserve it. So there's no pride and there's no low self-esteem. Both are gone. That's humility. But ordinarily we get it, we compare ourselves to others. Devotees, and we understand everybody's the same that way. Everybody else is loved by Krishna. So their success makes us happy. And we don't need any credit because again, we're just losing ground on Krishna all the time. Oh no, my business is failing. No, I'm not a big entrepreneur. Krishna is giving me more than I can give him. I'm still in debt. My debt is growing every day. So why give me any credit? I'm a business failure. Happy business failure, but still I'm a business failure. All right, well, next time is our last go around here for this essence of bhakti. So we'll see what we're going to do. Again, with the doer, it means the result, Vrindavani. It doesn't mean we're not acting, right? And also, we can't act independently. Krishna gives us, we're acting. Our bodies are given to us. So goals for progress. I mean, the goal we want is we're asking for Krishna's mercy, right? The notion of goals is we want ultimately to have love of God, but that's our aspiration. Goals is a lot more like what we do here in the material world. We get more accomplished. We set this goal. We get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So if we have a goal, is to get smaller and smaller and smaller, to be more grateful, to open our hearts, to be more dependent on Krishna, to take less credit for what we're doing. We can't make ourselves go back to Godhead because that's an egoistic enterprise, and we have to destroy the ego in order to go there. We have to use a different means. What we've done in the material world does not work in the spiritual progress, in the spiritual program. It's opposite. We have my spiritual master calls it the littleness, the bigness of littleness, or the littleness of bigness. That to advance, we have to become smaller. And we're asking for Krishna's mercy. So my goal, of course, is, if I have a goal, I'm trying to increase my gratitude. I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to increase my gratitude. I'm trying to increase my understanding of my helplessness. I'm trying to open my heart more when I'm given the opportunity. And I know that if I do that, things will work out because of Krishna's mercy. But I can't do it. Because the I know is my false ego. Bhakti is a gift. It really is a gift. It's a causeless mercy. And all I can do is try to pay something back, but I'm always behind. And all I can do is realize my helplessness, realize my good fortune, and try to open myself so that Krishna can act and take me back. So the whole kind of way we usually do things here in the material world, setting goals, making plans, increasing the effort, all this kind of stuff, me, for ultimate success, doesn't really make sense in the spiritual context. I'm going to prove myself, I'm going to be better, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be this. No, you already are what Krishna wants, so we have to become less, more grateful, more humble. Krishna's mercy is the only thing. What goal we have? Just have to try to pay it back. Try to pay some of Krishna's mercy back. It's not going to include Krishna's mercy. It's all Krishna's mercy. We didn't even know who Krishna existed. We can't take any credit. We're doing a little tiny bit, and Krishna's giving us so much. We can't take any credit. We have to slap ourselves when we start talking credit. Credit, nonsense. We're falling behind. Krishna's done already so much more for us than we've done. And it's always going to continue that way. We don't get any credit. If we have gratitude, our service will increase. If we have feeling helpless, our service will naturally increase. It'll just come out. It's spontaneous. It'll happen. And if we don't, all of our efforts and stuff will get stale. You'll burn out and do this kind of stuff. So Krishna's mercy is what it all is. We're just responding to it a little bit. We're trying to pay a little bit back. This is my proposition for you. We have to reverse our thinking so much in Bhakti. All the things that have worked for us so well in this material world are opposite of the reality and opposite of Bhakti. So we should think, why? I appreciate Krishna so much. How can I find some way to pay him back a little? That's how you have goals. I need to pay him back a little bit more. How can I give a little bit of payment back? How can I feel more grateful? Those goals you can have. But then we can't think, oh, I did that. Now I'm so capable. No, you still are behind. He said, even the devotees in the spiritual world, they feel they're always falling further behind in their service. They've received so much more than they can give. And they're always expanding their intensity of service, but they're just losing ground. What's our hope? All right, we've gone a little bit over. So yeah, we'll try to wrap things up as much as we can. Next time we'll try to finish this third verse, and see where we can end up. And thank you for your patience and your time. All the best to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Giri.